Oh, shoot. Look out.
Oh, my God.
My apologies.
Is that on camera? See that? Trying to wound me.
You get a fish?
Here, yeah, and I got a fish.
And you got a fish. See, I just gave you a... I helped you. This fish counts for me. Oh, look what he spit.
Seen that.
Look what he spit out. That's interesting.
Now everyone's seen this on camera. He tried to wound me, so I wouldn't catch a fish. Yeah. I'm up on him now.
Oh man, I didn't know we were having a competition. Well, now that's an introduction to a lure. First time I saw a CYC Lures rattle trap. First 2 casts I get bit. We'll see if I can get this one in though. First one coming button. Yeah, we're gonna carry fry that thing. Yeah. So we are in kind of, I'm gonna call it stained water. And we're gonna talk today. Here I am with Dave Terry, my main guy. We came out and put a beat down on some fish last year in the pre-spawn. And today's episode is all about the best baits for stained water largemouth bass in the spring pre-spawn. So I'm here at Dave Terry talking about the 3 best baits for largemouth bass in the pre-spawn time, springtime, whatever you want to call it, in stained water. Talking about stained, not ultra clear water. It's still visibility. I mean, visibility is still pretty good here, Dave.
Yeah, fairly.
Yeah,
I mean it's not bad.
You still got 2 foot or so of visibility, so this is not muddy water, but stained. And we had an interesting day of fishing. So we're going to talk about here. We're going to number our top 3, going 3, 2, and 1. And number 3, which actually turned out to be a deal for this guy who kicked my butt with it, is a good old traditional bass jig. Now our day began with moving baits really being much more productive than slowing down the jig, but then conditions got slick, calm, and the fishing got really tough, and that's when Dave went to work with the jig. Dave, put you on the spot, and you were throwing that jig. Explain what you were doing and how you were working your bait.
Well, we were in what, 5 foot of water?
Yeah, 5, 6
foot of water. Few weeds, few pad stalks. The water was, I mean, it was flat. They wanted it slow. I mean, I just barely bringing it off the bottom. I mean, really not hopping it, just kind of dragging it.
There you go. Oh, that's a lot better. He's active. Sure, it's moving. That's a jig. Look at my ball.
Not bad fish either.
And the spot that he really went to work on and made a perfect sense because it was kind of a bowl shape and there were lily pads, submerged lily pads growing all through there. Oh my God.
There's your jig fish. Jig fish. I mean, it was a light bite though. I mean, I don't know if you'd ever felt it or not.
Oh yeah. Anyway, like a jig bait's turning on, Dave.
Yeah, I'll sell you one of these jigs.
I got jigs. You need help unhooking them?
I guess.
Looks like you haven't ever had a big hook out of a fish's mouth before. You're a real man. You get it out a lot faster.
That's a nice fish.
Man, Dave, tell me what you did there.
Another jig fish, just dragging it on the bottom. I'll teach you how to do that one of these days.
I would appreciate that.
One of these days, I'll teach you how to jig fish.
I'll mention too that beaver dams are an excellent choice at flipping a jig as well. Dave taught me that last year. But a beaver dam holds so much structure and depth changes by either 6 inches or a foot, up and down on all the structure that the beavers bring in there. We come across a living legend, Mr. Larry Stanley. Oh, gosh darn. I mean, you're gonna hold those nets? Come on, hold on like a man. That's how it's done, Larry. That's good. You caught him, excuse me? Or is that top secret here? You know you're on film.
Jackhammer.
You lying piece of poop. Now, had there been a good breeze blowing in there, Dave, I'm going to say number 2 would have been.
You think you might have caught him better?
I would have caught. Well, I was taking it easy on Dave today, you know, letting him feel like he's a good fisherman and all. But I'm going to say number 2, best largemouth bass bait in the spring is Prespawn is bladed jig. There are numerous different types on the market today. I personally throw the 9K Elite Lures Chatterbug. By the way, every bait we're using in today's video, links to it are in the description, as well are a few promo codes and link to some relevant videos as well. Anytime you're able to throw a bait up against lily pads with a breeze, Dave, I'm going with this thing 90% of the time. It really, unlike a rattle trap, it deflects the lily pads much more effectively than a lipless crankbait. My retrieve with it is pretty steady, but I'm going to pop it through the weeds. Shall I say, I'm going to pop it and snap my rod every time it comes in contact with any weeds and lily pads. And we caught quite a few fish with it this morning when there's still some cloud cover and there was a little bit of breeze going on this morning. Well, you know me, I'm going to throw that chatterbug whenever I get a chance, and this is a 3/8 ounce. I did switch something up today from what we've seen in previous videos, is that almost always I'm throwing a little Yamamoto Seiko on as a trailer. I did not. I got a little Loch Ness Lures Nessie swim bait on there today. And boy, he liked it. Yeah. There. Good little guy. But again, boy, he ate that chatterbug good, didn't he?
You did.
Yeah.
That's a brim-filled jackhammer right there.
Now, the number 1 bait for largemouth bass during the pre-spawn and spawn, number 1 is the old lipless crankbait, the rattle trap.
My favorite.
Yeah, his favorite. I think most bass fishermen's favorite. Tell me about your retrieve with a rattle trap, Dave.
I just burn it. Cast it and burn it, hit the pads, get hung up, rip it off, and get that reaction bite a lot of times. But
there you go, buddy.
I think I snagged it.
I don't say you snagged this thing.
Hey, if it's got gills, I can catch it.
It does have gills.
Doesn't matter how.
Apparently actually it's a really nice fish too. Now, how do you explain that? How do you explain what happened? I mean, did you just run it over his back?
I'm assuming. That's a big one. He just barely hooked.
A big one. Oh yeah, you do. Holy smokes. Get it. Oh, he almost hooked you now. Oh. You literally just made us move.
Well, we just moved. Like I was telling you, there's some pretty good weeds over here, and I just came through those weeds.
But you came over here because you thought there was a little more breeze.
Yeah, a little more wind, some weeds.
The lack of wind we think is making the bite a little bit tougher.
Yeah, it is making it tough.
I mean, the areas that we are fishing all day with this time period is really out in front of lily pads or even up in the lily pads. And stained water, that's really your best structure.
Anything you can rip it through.
But, oh boy, we're getting it on now, aren't we?
Had a good one. Man, not as big as the last one.
Doggone nice fish though. Back-to-back cast, Dave.
Yeah.
Why? Number 1 bait this time of year.
Rattle trap.
But we're not 20 feet deep looking for vegetation. I mean, we are really shallow. A lot of times it's 2 foot or even a foot and a half, about to 4 foot of water. Yeah, not a bad fish. There. So yeah, you were burning it to keep it above that weed line, absolutely, or to keep it from getting snagged. And
right.
So if you're going to some stained water, the legend Larry Stanley, showing me his, Larry, we gotta get Larry on video someday too. Yeah. Water temp today is really unique in the sense it's warmed up over about 5 degrees today. See, early on in the morning is in 54 degree range, and then by the time we're getting off the water, it's about 59 degrees. It's a heck of a nice day, but really too nice. What's perfect weather for us as humans is really the worst weather as far as getting the fish to be active. I'm just saying, you can't really convince a fish when it's dead calm, when he can look at a rattle trap or a chatterbug for a very long period of time, convince him that's real food. But which also is really why that jig worked out well for Dave in those calm conditions, just scooting along, creeping along, really not mimicking any kind of bait fish, but just that crawdad. Thanks for tuning in. Until the next time, we will see you on the water.
See ya.
Why do we move over here?
That's why. This is why.
Because of the fish?
Well,
you just knew there's fish?
What I tell you? See, I told you that one would eat the one you just caught.
Oh,
See that?
what you gotta be that way for?